Simple interest value is more than compound interest value. So the difference in the amount was given here, that is 437.5. According to rule of 69, the double period or the doubling period is equal to 0.35 plus 69 divided by interest rate. 25,000 you'll invest for 6% simple interest, and one more 25,000 you'll invest for 5% compound interest. So the total value is rupees 50,000. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to one and all. This is your Shruti ma'am lecturing in Vidhyaashram, the Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. In this session, we are going to study the problems which is combined with both simple interest and compound interest. Now let us see the first question. Suraj borrowed 18,000 at 5.5% per annum simple interest for 3 years and lent it to Akash at 5.5% per annum compound interest for 3 years. What interest was paid and received by Suraj, and what gain did he make in this transaction? So here Suraj has borrowed some amount of money at 5% per annum simple interest for 3 years. So first let us calculate the interest which he has paid for rupees 18,000. So we know the simple interest formula is PTR by 100. So principal, time and rate of interest. So since it is 5.5, I can write this as 5.5 in new numbers. So divided by 100. So taking the product, we'll get the value 2,970 in terms of rupees. So that means Suraj has paid an interest of 2,970. Now the same amount he has given it for Akash at 5% per annum compound interest. So let us calculate the compound interest. To calculate the compound interest, we need to find out the amount after 3 years. So for that we have a formula. A is equal to 1 plus I whole to the power n into P. So here the principal is the same amount, 18,000, and the rate of interest is 0.055. Because in compound interest, interest rate is always expressed in terms of decimal and number of years is 3. So here when you multiply 18,000 with 1.055 whole cube, so the final value will be equal to 21,136 rupees. Now to calculate the compound interest, it is always amount minus principal. So amount we got as 21,136 minus principal is 18,000. So therefore, the compound interest is equal to 3,136 in rupees. So this is the interest which he got after giving it to Akash. So now what is the difference between his money? So whether it's gained or loss. So it's a gain actually. So therefore, he gained an amount. We know that compound interest minus simple interest. So that is 3,136 minus 2,970, which is equal to 116 in terms of rupees. So thus what we can conclude that Suraj has invested an amount of 18,000 to Akash at 5% per annum compound interest. So he earns an interest of 3,136. But for the same amount, he has paid the interest of 2,970. Obviously, he'll get a profit, and that profit was rupees 116. Next question. A person borrows a certain sum of money at 3% per annum simple interest and invests the same at 5% per annum compound interest, compounded annually. After 3 years, he makes a profit of 1,082. Find the amount he borrowed. So, let the principal of the amount which he borrowed be X. So, that amount at the rate of interest 3%. So, we need to calculate the simple interest for 3 years here. So, therefore, time is equal to 3 years. Now again I is equal to PTR by 100, using it X into 3 into 3 divided by 100. So which is 9x by 100, which can also be written as 0.09x. We can also keep this in fractions, no issues, or we can also keep it in decimals. Now the same amount that is the principal X, he invested 5% compound interest. So therefore, I is equal to 0.05 for the same tenure, that is T is equal to 3 years. Now to calculate the compound interest, first we need to calculate the amount. So P into 1 plus I whole power n, which is X into 1 plus 0.05 whole power 3. This is equal to 1.1576x. So this is the amount he received, but we need the compound interest, which is always amount minus principal. So principal is X. So subtracting this, we will get the interest as 0.1576x. Now, they have clearly given that after 3 years, he makes a profit. Then obviously here 1082 is equal to compound interest minus simple interest. So the compound interest is 0.1576x, 0.1576x minus the simple interest was 0.09x. So subtracting this value, 0.0676x. So therefore, x is equal to 1082 divided by 0.0676. This is equal to 16,005.917 in terms of rupees, or we can also approximate it to 16,006 in terms of rupees. So this is the amount he has borrowed at 3% per annum simple interest, where the same amount is invested at 5% per annum compound interest. Next question. Pradeep invested equal amounts, one at 6% simple interest and the other at 5% compound interest. If the former earns 437.5 more as interest at the end of the 2 years, find the total amount invested. So the same amount, principal, is X. So one is invested at the rate of 6% simple interest, and the same amount is invested at 5% compound interest. So if he earns a profit of 437.5 after investing the amount at 2 years, so here the time is 2 years, then we need to calculate the total amount invested by him. So first let us calculate the simple interest, that is I is equal to P T R by 100. So which is 12x by 100, which can also be written as 0.12x. Now the same amount is invested at 5% compound interest with the same period of time. So therefore we'll calculate amount before calculating compound interest, which is x into 1 plus 0.05 whole square, whose value is x into 1.05 whole square, which is equal to 1.1025x. Now to calculate the compound interest, it is always amount minus principal. So 1.1025x minus x is equal to 0.1025x. So we can clearly see here the simple interest value is more than compound interest value. So the difference in the amount was given here, that is 437.5. So let's take now simple interest minus compound interest is equal to 437.5. So which is here 0.12x minus 0.1025x is equal to 437.5. So the difference value is 0.0175x is equal to 437.5. So x is equal to 437.5 divided by 0.0175. So when we divide this, we will get the value of x as rupees 25,000. So what is this x? X is the invested amount, but he has invested the equal amounts at simple interest as well as the compound interest. So therefore the total investment so 25,000 he'll invest for 6% simple interest, and one more 25,000 he'll invest for 5% compound interest. So the total value is rupees 50,000. Next question. If the difference between the simple interest and compound interest for 3 years at 2.5% per annum is 625, find the sum invested. So here the time is same, the rate of interest is same, and the difference between the simple interest and compound interest is given. We need to find out the principal or the sum invested. So we know that when the same amount is invested with the same percent of simple interest and compound interest, we always get the compound interest as a maximum value. So therefore here, compound interest minus simple interest is equal to 625. Now, we need to calculate the compound interest, but before that we need to find out the amount. So A is equal to, so let me consider principal as x here. So it is x into 1 plus 0.025 whole to the power 3. So amount will be equal to 1.07689x. So now this is the amount. So compound interest is amount minus principal, which is 1.07689x minus x, which is 0.07689x. Next we need to calculate the simple interest, which is PTR by 100. So x into 3 into, so 2.5 whole divided by 100. So this is equal to 0.075x. So now let me consider this as equation 1. So from equation 1, this implies compound interest value is 0.07689x minus simple interest 0.075x is equal to 625. So when we subtract this value, we'll get 0.00189x is equal to 625. So therefore, x is equal to 625 divided by 0.00189, which is equal to 330,687.83. So that is 3,30,687.83, or else we can approximate this to 3,30,688 in terms of rupees. So this is the amount which is the investment. Next question. A person borrowed 65,000 at 8% simple interest for 4 years and lent out the money for 10% compound interest for 4 years. How much did the person gain? So obviously the same amount is distributed with 8% simple interest and 10% compound interest for the same period of time. Hence, compound interest will be more. So first let us calculate the simple interest for 65,000. So that is I is equal to 65,000 into 4 into 8 divided by 100. So 0 cancels here. So the value is equal to 20,800. Now let us calculate the compound interest. So we need amount here before calculating compound interest. So amount is 65,000 into 1 plus 0.1 because it is 10% compound interest whole to the power 4. The period is same, that is 4 years. So which is 65,000 into 1.1 whole power 4, which is equal to 95,166.5. Now we need the compound interest, which is amount minus principal. 95,166.5 minus 65,000, that is equal to 30,166.5. So 30,166.5. So now it's actually a gain. So which is compound interest minus simple interest, which is equal to 30,166.5 minus 20,800, which is equal to 9,366.5 in terms of rupees. So the next thing is a doubling period. Usually an investor will have an idea. So when a certain amount of investment has done, so when will the investment become doubles? So when I'll get, for example, if you have invested 10,000 for a certain period of time at given percent, then your amount has to double. That is, you should get a 20,000 while you are taking back. So what is the tenure or the time period so that my amount will actually double? So this is called as doubling period. So we have two rules to identify the number of years so that the investment will be doubled after certain number of years. The first one is rule of 72. The rule of 72 actually says if the doubling period is obtained by dividing 72 by the interest rate. For example, if your interest rate is 6%, then you need to divide 72 by 6%. So here, which means 72 divided by 6 itself. So you're not converting into decimal. So you're just considering it as a number, 72 divided by 6. So here the answer will be 12. So after 12 years, a certain number of value will become double. Now next is rule of 69. So according to rule of 69, the double period or the doubling period is equal to 0.35 plus 69 divided by interest rate. So here whatever the value interest, suppose if you consider the interest rate as 6%, so then the value is 0.35 plus 69 divided by 6, which is equal to 11.85 years. So this is also approximately equal to 12 years. So that means a certain amount of money will get doubled after 12 years. So these are the two rules which we follow to find out the doubling period. So let's take an example here. If the interest rate is 12%, what are the doubling periods as per rule of 72 and rule of 69 respectively? So according to rule of 72, so the doubling period is equal to 72 divided by interest rate, that is R. So here it is 72 divided by 12, so which is equal to 6. So here it takes 6 years for doubling period. Next we have rule of 69. So rule of 69, doubling period is equal to 0.35 plus 69 divided by R. So which is equal to 0.35 plus 69 divided by 12, that is equal to 6.1 years. So these are very important tool rules to find out the doubling period of an investment. So today in this session, we have learned the problems related to the simple interest as well as compound interest, and we have also learned to find the doubling period for a given amount of investment at certain interest rate for the number of years. So I'll meet you in the next session. Until then, keep watching, keep learning and keep exploring. Thank you.